So when I was a young footballer, I would usually get nervous before big games. Not even before big games, but before every single match. Every single match, I'd be nervous. And the thing is, in my opinion now, there's nothing wrong with being nervous. But back then, I'd see nerves as a bad thing. I'd get those butterflies in my stomach. I'd get heavy legs before the game. And I'd be thinking to myself, yo, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I'd always get angry and frustrated that I'd always get nervous before games, you understand? I'd go on YouTube, you've probably done this as well, you go on YouTube, you type in, how can I be less nervous as a footballer? How can I gain more confidence as a footballer on the football pitch, you understand? You try to find different ways, you try different techniques, different rituals, different things that you do before the game to make you less nervous, different mental exercises and all of that. But the truth of the matter is that you have to shift the way you see nervousness, you understand? That feeling of butterflies in your stomach, maybe you have heavy legs as well. Maybe there's other things that happen to you when you get nervous. But for me personally, it's mainly just the butterflies in my stomach. When you get that feeling of nervousness, you can't see it as a negative thing, you understand? You can't see it as a bad thing. You have to shift your mentality, shift your thinking and be like, yo, the reason I'm nervous is because I'm about to do something important, you understand? Nerves come in when you know you're about to do something important, when something's on the line, you understand? And that should give you the adrenaline to go out and actually produce on the football pitch, you understand? When you're, you know what I'm saying, when you're going out for the game and you feel those butterflies in your stomach, start telling yourself, alright, cool, this is not a bad thing, this is just the adrenaline, this is just, the butterflies are giving me energy, you understand? They give me that energy, that adrenaline to get in the game, have a quick start early, you know, get a few touches in, win my individual battles at the start of the game, and then we go on from there. And then if you think about it, once you get your first few touches on the ball, what actually happens? The nerves start to settle, the butterflies go away, and then now you're sort of in a flow state, you understand? Now you're in a flow state. And it's just a case of like, yo, the nerves are going away now, and now you're just locked into the game, you understand? So start seeing nerves as like the adrenaline. It's basically your body telling you like, yo, we need to get into this game early, understand? It's almost the energy it's giving you, understand? We need to get into this game early. Yo, first challenge, first header, first few passes, first few touches on the ball. Maybe your striker, get your first shot away. Try get it on target, you understand? So see nerves as a good thing, you understand? Once I started to see nerves as a good thing, things changed for me as a footballer. I went from, you know, being nervous, you know, being scared to get on the ball, you know, early doors, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when you go, you know, the first 5-10 minutes of the game without touching the ball, the rest of your game, in my experience, you don't really have a good game, you understand? It takes you too long to get into the game, other people are getting into the game, and it's like, yo, maybe the first time you get the ball, it's like 10 minutes into the game, and because you're sort of cold, you're not warm, you haven't warmed into the game, maybe your first touch will be bad, and maybe you end up losing the ball, and then it's just a knock-on effect. So you lose the ball, now you're even less confident, you understand? Whereas when you see nerves as a good thing, it's like, yo, tell yourself, yo, that's the adrenaline pumping, you understand? That's the adrenaline pumping. That's the thing that's telling me, yo, I need to get into the game early, you understand? That's the energy that's going to give you at the start of the game. Even if you're a bit nervous, even if your legs are feeling a bit heavy, you're like, oh, damn, like, I don't really like that feeling. See it as motivation. That's basically your body telling you that, yo, big man, we need to get into this game early, understand? The earlier you get into this game, then the nerves will settle down, and then you'll be in a flow state and be ready to play your game, you understand? That's what it's essentially telling you. If you see nerves like this, trust me, but you rarely have a bad game. So yeah, you get into their game early, and then you go on to have a good game, you understand? You go on to have a good game. So you need to just reframe your thinking of nerves, you understand? See nerves as a positive thing, you know what I'm saying? See nerves as a positive thing. Don't see it as a negative thing. Don't think that, oh, I'm nervous today, that means, you know, don't let the nerves, you know, make you start hiding from the football. Don't let the nerves start, you know, making you be hesitant on the football pitch in the early stages, you understand? See those nerves as like, yo, the nerves are giving you energy, you understand? See it as a game. See it as like, yo, then these nerves, they're giving me energy. The butterflies in my stomach, they're giving me the energy to go out there. You know, they're giving me the adrenaline to go out there, get into the game early. And the earlier I get into the game, it's going to be a case of, yo, they're going to end up easing. The nerves are going to end up easing, and then I can just get into the game slowly. That's what the nerves are really there for. They're there to encourage you to get into the game early, understand? Once you frame it like that, trust me, you'll never see nerves as a bad thing. You always be like, yo. So once the nerves come, when you start getting the butterflies in your stomach, the heavy legs, maybe it's in the change room, maybe it's in the warm-up, or maybe it's, you know, when the whistle blows at the start of the game. See it as a case of, yo, these are the nerves, they're meant to give me energy, you understand? They're meant to give me that adrenaline rush first 5-10 minutes so I can get into the game, really get into the game early, get a few touches on the ball, and then from there, it'll settle me down, and then I can go on to have a good game. Because if you really think about it, when I say the word nerves, I use the word adrenaline. Now, what is adrenaline actually? Now, adrenaline is literally just a case of your fight or flight response. That's why I said it's very important to frame your nerves as a good thing. Because if you frame your nerves as a bad thing, then guess what? You're going to get the flight response. And as a footballer, what is the flight response? You're hiding behind, let's say you're a centre mid, you're hiding behind your man, you don't want to come receive the ball. Maybe it's a fullback, you're scared of, overlapping your winger, you're scared of getting forward. You start thinking to yourself, but what about if I don't have the energy to get back in? So you start staying at the back and you don't really help out your winger. You don't give your winger that overlap. Maybe it's a striker and you end up being trigger shy. That flight response is causing you. Maybe you had an opportunity to take a shot and you didn't end up taking a shot. Maybe you played it backwards. Maybe you're a winger. You get the ball early doors, 1v1, you're isolated. It's literally ISO ball, you know what I'm saying? ISO ball, nobody's near you, 1v1 against your fullback. But then what do? You decide to pass it inside or you pass it backwards, you understand? Simply because you're nervous. And like I said, think about nerves as adrenaline, you understand, the fight or flight response. However, once you start seeing nerves as a good thing, something that energizes you, you understand, nerves is something that energizes you. It's meant to be there so you can have a fast start to your game, so that when they ease, when you're like 10, 15, 20 minutes into the game, when it's eased off, then you can really start playing your game, you understand? That's what the nerves are for. They're there, they're meant to energize you. Now, when you see these nerves as a good thing, when you see them as a good thing, what happens? You trigger the fight response, you understand? What's the fight response? You're there to compete. You're not pulling early doors. You're not pulling out of challenges. You're not hesitant. As a centre midfielder, you're going to receive the ball early doors, you know what I'm saying? You're looking to pick up the ball anywhere just to get your touches in, keep the game ticking for your team. As a striker, early doors, you're willing to go get your shot off, you understand? You see nerves as a good thing. That fight or flight response kicks in, and obviously your response will be fight, so you're getting those early shots in. As a winger, you're taking on your man early doors, I remember Yannick Balassi said something where it was like, at the start of the game, anytime he got the ball early doors, his first touch, he'd always try to go at his man, and he used to say that, I just want to test out his hamstrings, you know what I'm saying? Let's see if the hamstrings are ready. Let's see if the hamstrings are really ready. He always wanted to, go at his fullback, take a heavy touch, run, and just to test him, you understand? Just to see if the fullback's ready. That's the fight response. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was nervous before a big Premier League game for Crystal Palace, but he just said, he's just sort of knew himself. And a lot of footballers sort of know themselves that, even though I'm nervous, they don't see it as a bad thing. They just see it as, it's a big game. Nerves are normal. It's the thing that's going to energize me, you understand? It's the thing that's going to energize you. And like I said, that fight or flight response, once you see nerves and the adrenaline as a good thing, it'll trigger the fight response. So you get in the game early and you end up having a good game. Like I said before, if you're a centre back, you're not going to be pulling out of challenges. You're going to be reading the game well early doors. And then guess what? Once you have a few good actions at the start of the game, now your confidence is up. The nerves are gone, and now you can just get into that flow state. And once you get into that flow state, everybody knows as a footballer, we've probably all been in the flow state where it's a case of like, nothing else matters, you're just focused on the game, and you feel like everything's starting to go right for you, understand? Every single thing is starting to go right for you. You're passing, you're dribbling, you're shooting. If you're a striker, you're defending. You start doing things that you don't normally do in a good way, you know what I'm saying? You start playing 30-yard pings and they're going straight to your man. And like I said, that's just from you seeing nerves as a good thing, using that adrenaline to your advantage rather than seeing it as a disadvantage, you know what I'm saying? Always just remember, fight or flight response. When you see the nerves and the adrenaline as a good thing, that you'll trigger your fight response, which will cause you to get into the game early. And I always say to myself, and I say to other players, once you get into the game early, trust me, you're way more likely to have a good game, because your nerves will be settled way quicker. Instead of you settling into the game 20-25 minutes into the game, you've settled in 5 or 10 minutes into the game. So now you're just playing, you know what I'm saying? Now you're not really feeling the pressure, you're just playing. Wow, let's say your opponent, he's still trying to get into the game, he's still trying to warm into the game, and by the time he warms into the game, maybe it's already 1-0 to your team, maybe it's already 2-0 to your team, you understand? So that's the power of seeing nerves as a good thing. Don't see them as a bad thing. Don't get frustrated when those butterflies come or the heavy legs come. That's just a normal response to your body, you understand? That's just a normal response to your body. Obviously, there are certain players who just don't get nervous before before the games, you know what I'm saying? But majority of players, they get nervous before the games. But if those butterflies come, don't see them as a bad thing. See them as a good thing, you understand? See them as a thing that's there to energize you, there to encourage you to get into the game early. Because if you don't get into the game early, that bad feeling of butterflies, it will stay there, you understand? It's almost like I said, you just see it as your body telling you, yo, big man, you gotta get into this game. As soon as you get into this game, I'm giving you your body saying, yo, I'm giving you the energy to get into this game early, win your first header, win your first tackle, get your first few touches on the ball, and then as soon as you do that, I'll go away, and then you can get into your flow state. Now that's what you have to see your body's telling you, understand? Don't see it as a bad thing. Don't see it as, oh, why is it always me? Why does my body always do this? No. See it as a way as like your body saying to you, yo, I'm giving you this energy to get into the flow state, to get into the game early, and once you do that, you'll get into the flow state and you're way more likely to have a good game, you understand? But that's the video for today. Hope you enjoyed. I'm JT, and I'm out.